All right, today we're jumping into a corner of the investment world you've probably never even thought about: intellectual property royalties. So let's just kick things off with a question that kind of reframes everything. Have you ever been listening to a song you absolutely love and thought, what if I could actually invest in this instead of just hitting play? Yeah, that's the idea we're going to unpack. We are stepping completely off of Wall Street and into a space that, honestly, most people don't even know is out there.
Okay, so first things first. What are we actually talking about here? What even is this different kind of asset? So, IP royalties, what are they? Well, the simplest way to think about it is you're getting a slice of the pie. Every single time a song gets streamed, or a book gets sold, or a TV show rerun airs, a little bit of money gets generated. Investing in royalties means you get a piece of that action. Now, this is a really important point. You're not buying the song itself, okay? You don't own the copyright. What you're buying is a piece of its future earnings. It's all about that income stream.
All right, so that's the what. Now let's get into the how. How does this actually work? How does the money travel from someone's headphones all the way into an investor's pocket?
Well, for the longest time, this was basically a closed club. Only the big record labels, the giant publishing firms, they were the only ones who could collect these royalty checks. But that's all changing. The game is totally different now, thanks to online marketplaces that are opening this up to everyday investors. In the process, it's surprisingly straightforward. Let's break it down. First, someone uses the creative work. Let's say they stream a song. That action generates a tiny royalty payment. Then, an online marketplace scoops up all those tiny payments. And finally, your share of that money flows right to you. It's the power of lots of small transactions adding up. And this whole process, this continuous flow of payments, that's what's known as a royalty stream. That's the actual thing you're buying. It's not a one-and-done deal. It's the potential for cash to keep flowing in over the life of that creative work.
Okay, so now you're probably wondering, why would I even do this? What's the appeal? Let's talk about the unique benefits, what I like to call the creative upside. It really boils down to three key things. First, and this is a big one, it's often totally uncorrelated to the stock market. Second, you're directly supporting artists and innovation, which is pretty cool. And third, you have the potential for some really steady, predictable cash flow.
So what does uncorrelated actually mean in the real world? It's simple. Let's say the S&P 500 has a terrible day. Does that stop millions of people from playing that one viral song on TikTok? Nope. Your royalty stream can keep flowing no matter what Wall Street is doing.
And if you want a perfect example of steady cash flow, just think about holiday music. Or, those classic sitcoms that are always on TV somewhere. They generate royalties like clockwork, year after year. That's the kind of long-term predictability we're talking about. But, of course, it's not all upside. Let's be real. No investment is a sure thing. And if you're going to be a smart investor, you have to go in with your eyes wide open about the risks.
So here's the reality check. First, popularity fades. A massive hit today could be totally forgotten in a year or two. You also have to watch out for marketplace fees. Some of these platforms can take a pretty big cut. And finally, this isn't like a stock you can just sell in a split second. We're talking about low liquidity, which means it can be harder to find a buyer when you want to cash out.
This all leads to due diligence, your homework. And before you even think about investing, question number one has to be, who actually owns the rights? Is the seller legit? You have to know. Next up, you got to ask, how long does this thing last? Copyrights expire, so you need to know, is this royalty stream for 10 years, or is it for the life of the creator plus 70 years? That makes a huge difference in its value. And finally, you have to dig into the history. What's the track record here? Has this song been a consistent earner for years, or did all its income come from one viral moment that's already over? Look, past performance is never a guarantee, but it's a critical piece of the puzzle. Okay, so all of this, the upside, the risks, the homework, it all builds to this one big shift in how you think about things. It's about moving from just being a fan to also being an investor. And look, we're not saying you should sell all your stocks and go all in on this. Absolutely not. The way to think about this is as a fascinating way to diversify, to add a totally different flavor to a small slice of your portfolio.
So we'll end on this thought because I think it really sums it all up. The next time you're humming along to your favorite song, just remember, rather than just being a fan, you could be an investor, collecting a check every single time it's played. Now that is a powerful idea.